This is our champion, Brian Stiebel, and he returns with $8,860. Here's an actress and storyteller, Evelyn Robinson. And this is an attorney, Stu Silverstein. Brian is the champion. Evelyn and Stu, you are the challengers. And now, here is your master of the challenge, Dick Clark.
We're up to all right, George, we're up to a Thursday already. This week is just zipping by and all of that. Evelyn, how are you?
I'm terrific.
Stu, you're doing all right?
Just fine, thank you.
Brian, the middle's won $8,860 so far. Brian, how many days have you been here?
Oh, well, this is coming up on 5, I guess.
It's like the beginning of time. No, congratulations. Continued good luck to you and to everybody, by the way. The money you earned today is awarded by Citibank, MasterCard, and Visa. We'll start you with $200 in the sprint round. You have a minute. If you win the round, you have the first choice of the board, and that's kind of important because it gets you into the groove of things early. So let's set the clock at 1 minute for everybody. Today is National Yo-Yo Day. Which of the Smothers Brothers plays a character called the Yo-Yo Man? Stu.
Tom.
Tommy's right. What large metropolitan newspaper has as its slogan, all the news that's fit to print? Evelyn.
The New York Times.
Correct. Name the national political office that was held from 1949 to 1953 by Alvin Barkley. Evelyn.
Vice President.
Correct. Name the U.S. Air Base located in the Philippines whose lease is due to expire on September 16th. Stu.
Clark.
Correct. Name the state which at different times has had capital cities named Murfreesboro and Knoxville. Stu.
Tennessee.
Correct. The winner of an unprecedented 5 gold medals in speed skating at the 1980 Winter Olympics was Eric who? Brian.
Hayden.
Right. By what more familiar two-word name do we know the headquarters of the London Metropolitan Police? Brian.
Scotland Yard.
Right. It's official. NCR Corporation has agreed to take over, by what long-distance phone company? Stu.
AT&T.
AT&T is right, and that gives you a couple of $100 lead in the choice of the board. We have rhyme time celebrities, radio days, potluck, geographic facts, song lyrics, and transportation. That's your choice. Stu, where do we go?
Tribute to Woody Allen, Radio Days.
Radio days it is. Let's see what we have. Drama, variety, and comedy. $100 to $200 wagers, please. Place your bets now. Thought for a minute everybody's going to go for the same one, but you're the holdout, Stu, at $100. Name the 1938 Orson Welles broadcast of an H.G. Wells story that panicked listeners and caused some to flee their homes.
The War of the Worlds.
That's correct for $100. Evelyn and Brian for $200. Name the couple on a long-running radio show who lived at 79 Wistful Vista. Brian.
Fibber, McGee, and Molly.
That's correct for $200. Your choice of the board is what?
Rhyme time celebs.
We have an actor, a singer, and a comedian. $100 to $200 bets. For $150, Stu, give me a pair of one-syllable rhyming words for some mischievous little tricks if they were carried out by a singer named Sinatra.
Frank Pranks.
Right. You picked up $150, Evelyn and Brian. Give me a pair of one-syllable rhyming words describing ossified parts of the anatomy of the comedian named Rivers. Evelyn.
Jones Bones.
You got it for $200. Those things boggle my mind. Every time I read one of those, I say, oh, and you really have to go through a double thinking process. We'll be back in a moment to continue our game right here on The Challenge.
Sometimes. Watch those weeknights here on California 9.
And if they're not, who cares? They're having fun.
It's a good attitude.
Sure.
We're just talking about the fact that she's a storyteller. And I think we better back up a little bit because you and I have talked and they didn't hear it. You tell stories to whom?
I tell stories to little kids, mostly 35-year-olds at libraries.
35-year-olds?
No, 3 to 5.
Oh,
although I could tell stories to 35-year-olds.
Let them read their own stories.
Well, yeah.
They told me you dress up. What's the strangest outfit you wore?
My favorite costume was as a wizard one Halloween. And I had a full beard, a long gray wig and a mustache, and it turns out that the beard was kind of scary for the little kids, so I had to kind of kill the beard the next time.
No, it didn't make a recurring appearance?
Didn't work.
Man next to you's won a lot of money and has many, many interests. You're into mass media and physics, too?
Well, physics is interesting because it combines what I think are two of the most fascinating disciplines, mathematics and science. So it's a lot of fun. I mainly lay books, though. I'm not. I have a hard time doing the advanced mathematics involved.
It was my single most hated subject in school. And you got to really love it, and people who do love it, I admire, because it's tough for me. I just hate it every moment. You are an attorney, but you're also a writer?
Yeah, 5 years of working on one major fraud case was enough to tell me it's time to do something else for a while.
Wait a minute, you worked on one case for 5 years?
It was a big case. Big case.
Well, I shouldn't ask, did you win? That's none of my business. Was it?
They all settled.
Oh, after 5 years, they threw in the towel. In any case, good luck with the writing and the career, and let's see where we stand. So just everybody got practically the same money. Stu's out by a little bit, but that can change in a moment. Evelyn, you have the choices here. Potluck, geographic facts, song lyrics, and transportation. Where would you like to start?
Oh, song lyrics sounds good.
Song lyrics, all right? We have from the Beatles, from ballads, and from musicals. $1 to $200 bets, folks. For $100, Brian and Stu, according to the lyric and title of a Beatles song, happiness is a warm what? Brian.
That'd be a gun.
That's right. For $100, for $200, Evelyn. In the musical The Music Man, what total do you end up with if you add the number of trombones to the number of cornets close at hand?
186.
You are wonderful. You're right. I told you I hated math. I could have added, but I couldn't remember the cornets.
That was the first Broadway show I saw. It left an indelible memory.
You did well by remembering it. Where would you like to go now?
Let's try potluck.
Potluck. All right, we've got publishing, the law, and religion. Please select and wager. Let's see. It looks like, Brian, you're out there by yourself with a $100 question from the clues in this couplet. Who am I? Though not born on a farm, my playmates were bunnies, and some of those bunnies, boy, were they honeys.
Hef, or Hugh Hefner.
Hugh Hefner is right for $100. Evelyn and Stu for $200. Give me the name and number of the Pope who proclaimed in 1950 the dogma of the bodily assumption of the Virgin Mary. Stu.
Pius the 12th.
You are right for $200. Geographic facts and transportation, Stu.
Geographic facts, please.
Geographic facts, we have cities, we've got parks, and we've got states. Please bet. You know what that means? The sound tells it doubles. It's $400 up on the board. All three of you. Congressman Claude Pepper championed the rights of the elderly throughout the country. Which state did he represent in Congress? Stu.
Florida.
Florida's right. Now, would you like to tackle parks or cities?
Cities, please.
Cities for $200. We all know who's buried in Grant's tomb, but in what city is that tomb located?
New York City.
You're correct for $200. You want to try the park question at $300?
Why not?
All right. In what picturesque national park can you find Tuolumne Meadows and the gigantic mass of unbroken granite called El Capitan?
Yosemite.
You swept the board for $900. Congratulations. The last subject is transportation. It involves railroads and routes and roadsters. $1 to $200 question, or wagers, I should say. Questions is appropriate too. All right, for $100, Brian. One of the four railroads in the game of Monopoly is the B&O. The B stands for Baltimore. What does the O stand for?
Ohio.
Ohio is right. Evelyn and Stu for $200. In an old-fashioned roadster, what is the name given to the folding seat not covered by the top? Stu.
The rumble seat.
Rumble seat's right for $200. That wraps up the first round with Stu pretty much out in front. Double of any of the buddy there next to him. You got $2,150. Brian at 9 and 8 at 11. I beg your pardon. $800 for 11. Going too fast and tongue tripped all over my mouth here. In any case, Stu, you have a substantial lead, but in the next round, we raise the value of the questions and things are liable to change. We'll be back right after this.
My name is David.
And up-to-the-minute news. All news and current event questions are verified by Newsweek magazine. Once again, Dick Clark and the challengers.
That's Bob Hilton. Thank you, Bob. We're ready to start the second half of play. We'll raise the value of the questions. Things were sort of evened up here for a while until Stu swept the board back there, and he's substantially ahead at this point with $2,150. This is Evelyn and Brian's chance to do some catching up. Here are the 6 categories. We've got Romeo and Juliet, Close Call, What's the Point, Fortune Tellers, Great Lakes Cities, and King Khans. The choice this time is Stu's. Where do we go?
Let's try King Khans for no reason in particular.
All right, we've got Genghis Khan, Kublai Khan, and Ali Khan. Those are the Khans you have to wager on. $200 to $400 bets. For $200, Brian, Emperor Genghis Khan was a member of what nomadic tribe?
The Mongols.
That's right, for $200. For 4, Evelyn and Stu. Prince Ali Khan was an international playboy during the 40s and 50s. Name the actress he married, known to millions as America's love goddess. Evelyn?
Rita Hayworth.
You're correct for $400. 5 subjects over there, Evelyn.
Pardon me?
Which one?
Fortune tellers.
Fortune tellers it is. We have astrology, Ouija board, and tarot cards. Interesting selection. Make a bet. For $200, Brian and Stu, get ready to look to the video wall and identify the zodiac sign represented by this symbol. Cue the wall. Stu.
Gemini.
Yes, you've won $200 on that one. Evelyn for $400. Get ready to look to the video wall and identify this fortune-telling tarot card. Cue the wall.
That is the Fool.
Judge, what are you going to do?
I think she was just a shade too late, Dick. I'm sorry.
You're not going to count that is, are you?
No.
Yeah,
that was not an answer.
Yeah.
We needed the answer itself before the buzzer.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's a thinking process. It's what we call a handle, and that wasn't an answer. I hate to agree with the judges. You know, I love fighting with. You're very pensive today. Is something wrong?
I was just dozing off. Nothing's wrong.
So sorry I asked. Well, we'll take care of that.
Might it be remorse?
All right, here we go. Stu, you got the situation here. What would you like?
Great Lakes Cities, please.
Great Lakes Cities. We've got on Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, and on Lake Ontario. Select and wager, please. For $200, Evelyn and Brian, here's your question. Name the city on Lake Michigan's western shore with an American League baseball team called the Brewers. Evelyn.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee Brewers is right. Stu for $400. What Lake Ontario city has been called Film City because it's the world headquarters for the Eastman Kodak Company?
Rochester, New York.
Correct for $400. 3 subjects left over there. Stu, please.
Love's in the Air, Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet. We have the movie, the ballet, the opera. Romeo and Juliet's the thing we're talking about. For $200, gentlemen, Brian and Stu, this is yours. The 1968 film Romeo and Juliet was unique due to the youthful casting of Leonard Whiting and Olivia Hussey in the title roles. The director was Franco who? Brian?
Zeffirelli.
Zeffirelli is right for $200. Evelyn for $400. In 1867, an operatic version of Romeo and Juliet was written by the same composer, famous for his rendition of Faust. Name this French composer. Gounod was the answer we needed. That'll cost you $400, unfortunately. 2 subjects left over there, Close Call and What's the Point? The choice is Brian's.
What's the point?
What's the Point is End Point, On Point, Gross Point, and the Pointer Sisters. Select, please, and make a wager. 2 of you going for the Gross Point question in a moment. Evelyn, this is yours. In the world of ballet, On Point refers to what part of the dancer's body?
Her or his toes.
Toes. Tip of the toes, right. You picked up $200 on that one, gentlemen. Stand by, Brian and Stu, for $300. Grosse Pointe is the name shared by 5 exclusive communities on Lake St. Clair. In what city is this residential area located? Brian.
Detroit.
Detroit, Michigan is right for $300. Last one up on the board is Close Calls for cowboys, for ladies, for gentlemen. The wagering is $200 to $400. Everybody gets a question this time. Brian, this is yours. yours for $200. What name, which stems from the Spanish word for a thicket of shrubs, is given to the heavy leather protective leggings worn by cowboys?
I suppose chaps.
Chaps is right for $300, Evelyn. What French town lends its name to a delicate lace with a floral or scrolled design?
I wish I could pronounce this right. It's spelled Alencon.
Boy, she is so sure of that, Judge. What does that mean?
Interestingly enough, we were looking for Chantilly lace, but Alençon lace also fits our clues. So, yes, we'll accept it.
Aha! There you go. Congratulations,
Thank
Evelyn.
you.
Always glad to catch him, you know. It's wonderful. It just warms the cockles of my heart. Stu, for $400, name the 19th century British earl who lent his name to a single or double-breasted overcoat with a velvet collar.
Chesterfield.
You were right for $400. And that, my friends, wraps up the round, and we've got a nice race going here. Stu is out in front considerably, but the other two have a lot of money to play with here in the final challenge. He'll be back with us right after this.
And on the challengers, please call area code 818-562-1620.
Good.
Case settled. Prizes awarded by Citibank MasterCard and Visa Card, America's most widely used credit cards. And now back to the final challenge. Once again, Dick White.
Once again, a reminder that the money you see posted in front of the contestants is theirs. They're going to be playing with their own money, so it depends on what each individual person, whether you're conservative, whether you're a gambler, whether you're a little bit of both, how much you know the subject. Stu's got more money than Evelyn does. Brian's got more money than Evelyn does. But two of them, the two folks without the most money, still have enough to make Stu sweat a little bit. So we'll see what happens as we approach the final challenge. The category for the final challenge is medical history. You can wager at even odds on the 18th century. You can double your wager on the 19th century, triple it on the 20th century. We're talking about medical history. Think about that for 15 seconds. Select your question. Make your final wager of the day. You got to remember one little wiggle along the way. You got to give the highest wager to get the question. The challenge is yours. Players' choices are locked in. The subject is medical history. Evelyn, what did you do?
I want to answer a question for the 18th century for $1,000.
Brian, declare, please.
20th century for 400.
All right, and Stu?
The 19th century for $1,150.
Hey, we have everybody in for a question this time. All right, Evelyn, this is worth $2,100. In 1796, Edward Jenner began inoculating subjects with a mild form of cowpox to permit the formation of antibodies and eventual immunity. For $2,100, name the dread disease Jenner and his vaccination helped eradicate.
Smallpox.
Smallpox is right now. You've won $2,100. Evelyn, without wishing anybody good or bad luck here, if the other two guys fail, you've won the game.
Good luck, guys.
You're all heart. Brian, for $3,000 in winnings, here is your question regarding the 20th century. In 1949, a chemist reported that he had found a molecular flaw in hemoglobin responsible for sickle cell anemia. For $3,000, name that Nobel Prize-winning chemist and peace activist.
Linus Pauling.
You're absolutely right.
Oh, cooking.
That means, Evelyn, your $2,100 is safe, but it isn't the winning number. Now, Brian, you have won so far. Stu, on the other hand, has wagered $1,150 at double the odds, a grand total of $5,450. So the game hinges on this answer. If you're right, Stu, you've won. If you're wrong, Brian goes on for goodness knows how many more days. He's been here. He's won a lot of money. Good luck to all. In the 1840s, Georgia surgeon Crawford Long first used fumes from his this flammable liquid as a general anesthetic. For the next 100 years, it served as the standard to which others were compared. For $5,450, name this sweet-smelling anesthetic.
I have two. Ether.
Ether is right. You won it. $5,450. Evelyn leaves with $2,100. Brian's 5-day total is $11,860. What a day. Congratulations to all of you. Brian, thank you so much for a wonderful stay. Stu, we'll see you tomorrow. You'll face off a couple against two new challengers.
I can make it.
We'll see you there, and keep thinking good thoughts. Join us on the challengers. For now, Dick Clark. So long.
Some contestants today will receive a gift certificate from Citibank, Visa, and MasterCard, proud supporter of the National Parks Preservation Fund. Chuckles Candy, the great tasting chewy fruit candy that's fun to eat, fun to share. Chuckles Candy, even the name says fun. Nakano seasoned rice vinegar, a ready-to-use dressing, no oil, cholesterol, or fat. A healthy dressing for the 90s from Nakano. Hershey's syrup on ice cream is a favorite summertime treat. And look for the full line of Hershey's toppings for that great Hershey taste on ice cream. And Clear Eyes gets rid of the redness. And unlike the leading eye drop, Clear Eyes has an extra ingredient to moisturize, too. Use as directed.
Stay tuned to California 9 as Paula Lopez and Carrie Kilbride give you the latest local and national news on Prime 9 News at noon next.
This is Bob Hilton speaking. The Challengers is a Ron Greenberg production in association with Dick Clark Productions.